Today, we're going to talk about something really cool called focusing. It's all about tapping into this deep wisdom your body has, something most of us totally ignore in our day-to-day hustle. So, let's just start with a question that, honestly, I think we've all asked ourselves at some point. Why do we get stuck? You know the feeling, right? You analyze a problem, you talk it to death, maybe for years, but deep down, nothing really shifts. It's like you're just spinning your wheels. But what if the answer isn't about thinking harder? What if it's not in your head at all? Well, it turns out that's exactly what a group of researchers at the University of Chicago found. They pored over thousands of therapy sessions trying to figure out the secret sauce. What made some people have these huge breakthroughs while others stayed stuck. And what they found was, well, it was a game changer. It wasn't the type of therapy, it wasn't the therapist. It was something the successful patients were doing inside themselves, a specific internal skill. And that discovery really blew the doors open on a whole new way of thinking about change. It pointed away from our overworked brains and right back to our bodies. So let's talk about this idea of the body's wisdom. That skill, that's what we call focusing. And really, at its heart, it's just a process of gently tuning in to a special kind of awareness you already have inside your body. This isn't about gritting your teeth and thinking harder. Nope, it's the opposite. It's about turning your attention inward to a place where your body is holding all this information that your conscious mind just hasn't put into words yet. Now, the key to this whole thing is a concept called the felt sense. And I gotta be clear, this is not just a regular emotion or a simple gut feeling. A felt sense it's like your body's complete physical understanding of a situation. At first, it's usually pretty vague, kind of murky. You can't quite put your finger on it, but it's loaded with meaning. It's that physical sensation, usually somewhere in your chest or stomach, that just feels like all of that problem. And it's so important to get the difference between a felt sense and a plain old emotion, right? An emotion is usually pretty clear. You know when you're angry. You can name it. I'm mad. A felt sense is different. It's way more complex. And at first, it's unclear. It's like the entire murky landscape behind the anger. It's not just the sharp tip of the iceberg, it's the whole massive thing underneath. And that is where the real potential for change is hiding. Okay, so this felt sense thing sounds pretty powerful, right? But how do you actually get in touch with it? Well, that brings us to the how-to part of all this, the 6 focusing movements. And I really want to stress this. This process is not about forcing anything. We're not trying to wrestle our problems to the ground. These are super gentle, natural shifts in your attention. All you're really doing is creating a quiet, friendly space inside yourself so that the felt sense has a chance to form and, well, to talk to you. So here's the roadmap. First, you clear a space. This is basically just mentally setting your problems aside for a minute so you can get some breathing room. Then you invite that felt sense to show up, just letting the body feel of one issue come forward. Step 3 is to find a handle, which is just a word or an image that feels like it matches that sense. After that, you resonate. You check back and forth like you're tuning a radio. Does this word really fit this feeling? Then you ask. You can ask questions directly to the felt sense. And finally, the best part, you receive the shift. You just wait and feel that tangible sense of release, that aha moment when something physically lets go. Okay, I know this can all sound a little abstract, so let's bring it down to earth. The best way to really get this is to see how it plays out with a real story, with real change. So this process creates a very real, very physical release. And to see what I mean, let's look at the story of a guy named Fred. He had this constant, awful knot in his stomach. He tried everything to get rid of it, telling himself to snap out of it, overthinking it, trying to ignore it, but that knot just wouldn't budge. So then, he decided to try focusing. He got quiet, and instead of replaying the argument with his boss in his head for the millionth time, he just let his attention go down, into his body. He wasn't trying to figure anything out. He was just trying to get a feel for that knot, for the whole thing surrounding it. As Fred put it, I let my attention go down and got a feeling of all the thousands of details that surround it. And then, after just sitting with that vague, murky feeling for a bit, something happened. A single word popped into his head. Here's how he described it. Then I got my word. It was inappropriate. And I did feel my knot coming loose. That right there, that's the magic. That word was the handle. And the moment it arrived, he felt a physical shift. the knot actually started to loosen. That's the felt shift we've been talking about, a real bodily signal that something has changed. And here's the kicker, that one word, inappropriate, wasn't just a random label. It unlocked a whole flood of insight. He suddenly realized in a flash that he was trying to cram his entire life's creative ambitions into this one single work plan. It was totally inappropriate. The knot in his stomach wasn't really about his boss at all. It was so much deeper than that, and his body knew it the whole time. And that, right there, is the whole point. See, the goal of focusing isn't to just analyze your problems into the ground. It's about feeling them physically shift and open up. Fred could have talked about his work issues forever, and that knot probably would have just stayed there. This is about a change that happens in your body first. The insight, the new thoughts, that all comes after the physical release. All right, so as we start to wrap this up, what's the key takeaway here? What should you really remember from all this? It really comes down to these three core ideas. First, your body knows way more than your thinking mind can put into words. You just have to learn how to listen. Second, real change is supposed to feel like a relief, not like you're torturing yourself. It should feel like a breath of fresh air. And finally, and this one's huge, whatever feels bad is never the last step. That bad feeling is just the doorway to the next step, to the shift. So I'll just leave you with this to think about. What is your body trying to tell you? In that quiet place underneath all the noise of your thoughts, what's that vague, murky feeling that's been waiting for you to pay attention?